Hello and welcome again to this edition of Meet the Candidates. I'm David Nicholas. Glad to have you here on WCMU. We are speaking with our guests virtually, and that includes today, joined by Mohammed Salman Rais. He is the Democratic candidate for Michigan's 93rd House District seat. Good to have you with us, sir, and congratulations on the win in the August primary. In the first minute or two, maybe give us a little sense of you, your background, and experience you bring to the campaign.
Thank you very much, Nicholas, for having me. And it is always a pleasure because I have attended Central Michigan University and completed Master in Health Administration. I am a physician in Dewitt and have been involved with volunteerism, community service, education, and food programs. I like to serve my community, and this public office is one of the ways for me to serve the community.
As you have been involved in the campaign, the run-up to the primary, and now as we head towards November, what have you identified, and also the voters that you've been speaking with, what would you say are the top issues that they have concerns about as we head towards the November vote?
Yes, initially when I started meeting people and knocking doors, it was about infrastructure, roads, agriculture, health, small businesses, and education. We do have agriculture district, but now mostly it is about COVID-19 virus and our plans to return to a new normal, return to new normal for education, for schools, for businesses. Basically the plan, how will legislature will work in future to solve and to resolve those problems.
As a challenger in this race, what specific proposals, given this framework of COVID-19 on the public health, on our schools, on the economy, what specific proposals would you point to that you would take to Lansing if elected to this office to deal with the, as we've all said, the return to normal?
The proposal, which is mostly when it started as an emergency, the executive were making orders and most of the people were not happy about those. Although I agree that when there was no vaccine or no treatment, social distancing, mask, that were the only option. Now, when we will have to move forward, legislature has to work with everything and on all proposals. For example, with small business, they have been affected a lot. Even if they open, they will be open at 20-25% capacity. So we will have to make sure, reduce the tax or what we can do to improve so they can actually grow or at least maintain where they are. For schools, now we are going to hybrid model. It is difficult for parents sometimes to stay home and teach the children. Children are also affected because going to school and dealing with their social skills, also a part of education. We have to make sure we make precautions and preventive measures so we can move in that direction. The hospital, nursing homes, they have been affected with decreased census, their revenue. We have to make sure we do proper protection and move on. And we have to be prepared because now we have COVID-19. In past, we did have other viruses, for example, West Nile or multiple other viruses, but in future, if something else come up too like this, we will have to be prepared from that perspective too. So all these are proposals for which I would like to work in legislature.
Do you look at this in the framework of a short-term versus long-term, depending on how long the virus is with us and how much further impact we might have on the economics or how it will continue to affect schools and returning to normal? How does that frame the proposals you're looking at to address these issues?
Short time or the emergency measure was social distancing and mask. Till we get, or if we get vaccine or treatment, that could have to be prevented with social distancing. So at least for some time, social distancing will be there. How we can do that? One option with the effect on economies, we are not proposing any other tax because we are small area, definitely rural or suburban area, so we need them to grow. For education, we need to make sure right now, at least the hybrid model or parents who don't have internet or parents who have to go to job, they have to stay with their little children to make sure they receive education, because children, distance learning is mostly for maybe an adult style of learning, but for children, they have to be in a classroom environment. So we have to make a hybrid plan, or we will have to listen for it, because this is unprecedented, which we have to do. So we are going in step-by-step manner towards the future. For healthcare, definitely long-term care, nursing home, we are doing precautions for our vulnerable senior population. And right now, it is just application of different preventive measures till we know if we have a solution of this problem.
A concern in healthcare is often dealing with the issue of long-term care, even if we look at a life and a society without COVID-19. But I wonder if you can address more specifically when it comes to the businesses, the economics, and the schools. Are there policies or concerns that folks have shared with you or that you've identified that would look at this outside of COVID-19? It's hard to say we can't have COVID-19 in the picture, but if we look at this beyond, what would be some of the other concerns they have about how we address economics and education?
Correct. For education, I do support our public schools and need to make sure we have good salaries and benefits and pension plans for teachers. Charter school with public school has always been a debate, but I do believe there must be accountability. So that is one we have to address. With healthcare, there is no one solution. Mostly political parties try to take it in one direction, and according to their philosophy, then the other political party come and reverse the changes, and when we go in completely third direction. So it is not focused on one thing, but it has to be multiple things at multiple levels. Start with the appropriate health plan, what it is covering, how is it helping physicians and providers with their reimbursement, because sometimes if it's not reimbursing properly, not even covering the overhead of hospitals or practices, they may not accept it, and we had problem with that accepting people Medicaid in past. Also, we need to make sure we are not excluding any pre-existing condition. Then prescription prices, co-payments, they have to be make sure they are in a normal range where people don't have to pick and choose between medicine and other needs of their life. Also individual responsibility, because to make sure people are receiving preventive services that can for their health improvement, exercise, diet. Also opioid crisis we have to deal with. Public trust on healthcare, because everyone says it's a broken system, but definitely it is a system and it requires improvement with concern from all people. Also, in our area, when I was meeting people, agriculture, land, roads, they were important for them too, to make sure we do local, we promote local things in our area. So all these are, I think, steps which we have to work with legislation. And I do think it's not one person's opinion. We have to work collectively with the bipartisan level and with involvement of everyone. So whenever we take a step in the right direction, and it shouldn't be reversed. We continue going forward instead of reversing it and going back.
If we look more specifically then at agriculture and infrastructure, which you mentioned was one of the early issues prior to COVID-19, what have the voters said to you they would like to see addressed, and how is that translated into specific ideas that you might have regarding policy changes or continuing as we have with both agriculture and infrastructure concerns?
Agriculture is basically promoting local level, local farms, and then the availability that they can reach to other people and other markets, so the benefit go to the farmers. And that is one thing. About roads, it is a matter of priority and how we are doing the funding for those. Usually a lot of opinion about it, who should do it and how the funding should be. I do believe that if we make it priority and try to work with the counties and townships, we can get better results with coordinated efforts instead only if state or government can do that.
About 2.5 minutes left with you, sir. We are speaking with Mohammed Salman Rais. He is the Democratic candidate for Michigan's 93rd House seat. In these couple of moments, and still wanting to allow you a final message to the voters, is there any other issue that you would identify as a key priority for this campaign?
The other issue usually is your preparation. If some other issue is coming, how you are going to deal with that. And I think I will be prepared to assist and to work with any new issue which will come, because for this type of job or service, you cannot, some things you know what is coming, but you have to be prepared for what is unexpected, one. And then second thing is you have to work with everyone. That is the other point, with all parties and all different people and philosophies, to make it sure we are doing the right thing. And the message is that I am one of, for my district is I am one of you, so please consider about political affiliation, because I will represent you the way you will like to be represented. I will be your voice in Lansing. I will always be available to you and will listen you for any legislation, and that's why I will be requesting your vote. Thank you.
We appreciate the time and attention you've given to the voters. You did bring up, as we have just a few moments left, to look at the issue of the partisan politics and the relationship that you would have with other lawmakers while still representing those whose vote you seek. Talk about that commitment just briefly regarding the nonpartisan presence in our politics that we do see.
Right now, I think it is what I have seen mostly the attack on personalities, the attack on officers when running for campaign. I do think I am running a campaign based on my strengths and based on what I can deliver to my district. What other people are representing, they can answer better for their position, and then it is up to voters how to evaluate them. That is what I say. And about reaching people, because when I started meeting people, I recognized there are a lot of differences among people, which I understand and appreciate. A lot of philosophical differences about things which are sensitive to many people. So I do think when we will be working, we will have to consider everyone to make sure we reach them and make sure we attend them. Now, if I start naming those, it will be hard, but I can. But I do think that I share a lot of their concerns, and I will be listening to them.
Well, thank you very much again for your time in addressing the voters in the 93rd District as you seek their votes in November. We do appreciate that time today, and we wish you all the best for the rest of the campaign. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you very much.
We have been speaking with Mohammed Salman Rais. He is the Democratic candidate for the 93rd House race in Michigan, the challenger in that race. All qualifying candidates for the state of Michigan were invited to participate in this series. I'm David Nicholas. We hope you will join us again, and please remember to go out and vote on Tuesday, November 3rd.